basically got into this because I saw corruption with my own eyes from somebody who I knew. There was this guy named Dmitry Alperovich. I was at a company called Network Associates. It was a conglomeration of various companies like McAfee antivirus software and so forth. I was close to Bill Larson, who was the CEO. We were buying companies. One of the companies we bought was PGP, Pretty Good Privacy. And I didn't think too much of that, but the people who were using PGP for their privacy to keep the government off their back were very concerned that it was going to a private interest, that a backdoor would be written. We then bought another antivirus company from the old weapons cyber warfare group in Moscow of 12 people. Everyone said they're going to write backdoor viruses for the CIA. That's what Dmitry came and did, and it was based in Pittsburgh with the FBI. So he wrote backdoors into antivirus software so that it would report on all of our people. And then he turned around and ported PGP to the BlackBerry for the CIA. Which we didn't know was for sure, but we had fears that he was going to port the PGP to the BlackBerry because he had gotten a CIA contract from In-Q-Tel. It was In-Q-Tel's first project with Sue Gordon. And then I didn't hear from him for 16 years. And I was a big Bernie guy. I know people hate me for this, but I was a big Bernie guy. And Bernie got screwed by Hillary. And then supposedly she was the victim with her DNC server being hacked. And the person who was in charge of the investigation was the same guy, Dmitry Alperovich. This isn't putting a wolf into the hen house. This is putting like, I don't know, 50 wolves into the hen house. I was like, are you kidding me? And then I knew this whole thing is rigged. Up until then, I was kind of a Bobby Kennedy type Democrat. And then that was it. That was my red pill moment. And then I was in high tech. Like I mentioned, we did network analysis. Mm-hmm. And then I said, I'm going to become a citizen journalist. And that's how it happened.
When was this? Was there was that the incident that prompted you to doubt everything and to look behind the curtain?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2016 was in May 2016. And I was watching, Debbie Wasserman Schultz orchestrate all this, and she was the chairman of the DNC, and move all the funds from the Bernie people that I had given to and worked for and transferring it over to the Hillary crats. And then later, I went to Washington. I had a conversation with Seymour Hersh. Seymour Hersh said, well, don't tell me, write a book. Go on the road, learn something, go to Washington, write a book. And so I went to Washington, and I found out not Hillary, but Debbie Wasserman Schultz as a proxy for Hillary, had a spy team of 6 people on Capitol Hill. And I'm like, whoa, this is way worse. And they had the same BlackBerries that I remember from way back when as military encrypted grade weapons of mass destruction as far as the State Department is concerned. I'm like, wait a minute, this is aspiring in Congress. And so that led into me really becoming a citizen journalist, walking in Washington, D.C. every day, going to the congressional offices, etc.
George, you first came to my attention together with Dilyana Gaitenzieva. And I'd like to explore with you a little bit about that, how you and Dilyana kind of came to similar kinds of ventures there.
Well, my side was the technical side. I came at it through the BlackBerries, and Hillary had the BlackBerries. She was always bing, 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 bing on the plane. Oh, I'm so glad, Gaddafi's dead. So I was following and going around looking for the spy rings of BlackBerries and their server. And there's certain network packets that are created when you're talking to the server. We actually located the house near Fort Belvoir. So I was working that side, but Dilyana was working through the U.S. State Department, and she found these programs like USAID Predict and so forth were fronts for getting these old Russian scientists brought into the satellite countries around the USSR and then retooling the bioweapons into an attenuated form of what I call bioagents that could be used in something called the virus vaccine game. We can have a limited release of these things. We can create a panic, mass formation psychosis, then we can make tremendous profits on the vaccine. And she killed it. I mean, 2018 in Ukraine, she was there. G2101 was the Pentagon program name. She said it was the Diplomatic Security Services couriers that were taking all the blood all around. She named all the diseases that they were working on. She named names. She's the most amazing journalist. I tried to meet her when I went through Croatia. You're in Croatia, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I went through Zagreb and I was going down the Danube and I was heading down to meet her in in Hungary. I can't remember exactly where. I thought it was, I went to Hungary. It was further on. Anyway, I was heading toward the capital and she had to move. I mean, she was being intimidated. Anyway, I think she's a fantastic journalist. And there's a lot going on in the old NATO countries. As you know, the breakup of Yugoslavia became a playground for these bioagent testing and so forth with NATO. So yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah, it looks to us as though one of the most important testing grounds for all of this stuff, and of course one of the most corrupt countries in the world, is Ukraine, if it still exists. I have my doubts about that. I mean, I used to be a member of this, they call themselves the most important anti-corruption NGO, Transparency International, until I realized that good people in there, but at the very top, there's corruption. They're in bed with the pharmaceutical industry, chemical and pharmaceutical industry. So that's what, back then, that's what we learned very quickly. And I think this is like 7 years ago, but they knew this much longer than I did. But that's when all the information came out about Ukraine being at the very top of the list of the most corrupt countries in the world. All this child trafficking, organ harvesting.
Okay, hello everyone. George Webb here at the very much changed, the very much renovated house of Karmadoc. We're going to be doing a story today on the Peter Duke report about the Senate testimony today for proximal origins. Been talking all day with this great doctor who's, it's always great to ask about someone who's actually on the front lines prescribing the drugs, seeing the resistance to the antibiotics, seeing the Guillain-Barré, seeing the various fast cancers, seeing the moving from the metastasis to stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, all these things. And today, with the proximal origins from the Senate, the House investigations, we have 1 million updates on all the things we got right about the Wellcome Trust and how they were hiding Jeremy Farrar. They were pushing forward this Dr. Christian Anderson, hiding Jeremy Farrar and the WHO and the Wellcome Trust and the sort of the NATO dark hand in all of this live exercise. So we're gonna have a great show. It's gonna be coming up in about 20 minutes. Hey, hello everyone. George Webb here in central Michigan, and very good charrette going on. Started in tragedy, started with a suicide. The doctor who was widowed had this huge farm, completely overwhelmed. The person who was a fiance said they were going to fix the farm. They didn't do anything. Shoulder height weeds, total disrepair. The group's been here 5 days now, going on 6 tomorrow. Got the deck in for the new neighborhood news and so forth. So it's going to be really great here to have a location back for neighborhood news in Michigan. On other notes, the SV40 story still continues. We, of course, want to look into the SV40 promoters as an insert that could potentially be used later on to add some kind of spike. Some people even say you could use the TAT protein from HIV. You could use the tumor T-cell antigen from the original SV40, like all the way back in the polio vaccine in the 50s, or you could use some other spike. But the SV40 is sort of a target, a reachable target by a spike to do things like cause cancer. Cancer, of course, we had the telomerase genes that were being hidden. Those are for longevity as well as shortening somebody else's longevity. So a lot of things we're looking at that we're going to be following up on. So no let up on the news gathering while we're building. We got the third tractor running today, which was which was awesome. It hadn't been running 14 years. It's really a lot of great things happening here in Michigan, but even better for the future, we may have a charrette at the end of August, from August 25th to August 31st, here in the new neighborhood news here in Central Michigan. Okay, surprise for everybody here at the Karmadoc residence. Got the great Andy DiBalla. You've been all over.
We have been all over the country, not as much as you, George, but we had a calling here in Michigan this past week, and it just so happened that worlds collided and we could be back together again.
And you did the power washer, and then you cleaned up all the things, the wood pile over there, and your immediate impact when Andy DiBalla.
Hey, it's like we're actually farm goers right here, living the farm life. I'm just waiting for the rooster to call in the morning now.
Now, you knew if I ever came in and do a charrette, I got to do what? Build a deck.
Build a deck. So this is actually like third deck I think I've seen you build. George is the
here we go.
Smith here.
Yep.
A little American ingenuity.
Yep, we're good. We're bringing it in, and we're going to do a deck. The thing is, Karmadoc, it's like a surgeon needs a operating room to do the surgery, right? Yeah. She's a captain in the Army, and
yep.
Right?
We had an injury falling off the back.
We did. So now we need a deck just for safety. But we're going to get the stuff out and then clean, throw away, keep, organize, and then I'll go back in.
We're trying to keep the American dream alive here.
Well, we got the farm all working.